All right, welcome back once again. So this is part 2. Once again, my name is Coach Chenjerai. I am a business coach. If you want to know more about me, visit my Facebook page, Chenjerai Mukandiona. Chenjerai Mukandiona. My Facebook page is one of the best places that you can reach me. We can interact through the Facebook. Now, to continue on part 2, I want to focus on what parents can do to rescue their kids from unemployment. In my previous discussion, in part 1, I talked about an ecosystem which is sufficient, which is necessary, but not sufficient enough, right? And I said there are 3 things that an individual need for them to make a breakthrough in life and in business. On point number 1, I talked about plan. Then second point is effort. Then number 3 is support. And I must say, it is this point number 3 where most of our parents are failing the young people. For anybody, I want to repeat this statement again. For anybody to succeed, they need an ecosystem of support around them, where they can extract the factors of production, just as Adam extracted the factors of production from the ecosystem of Eden. So this is what I want to expand and explain. Now, success is not based on skills. It's not a result of skills alone. We need a lot. It requires a lot. It requires networks. It requires connections. It required communities. You need to have what I call social capital. Many young people, including parents and the governments, thinks that what young people need to succeed is financial capital. And this is why there is so much talk about lack of capital. Capital is critical, yes. But there is another form of capital which is more important than financial capital. And this kind of capital is called social capital. And when we talk of social capital, we are talking of an ecosystem of relationships that surrounds you. Some people are privileged to have these networks. From their upbringing, they've got these networks. And if you have these networks, chances of you becoming unemployed are very slim. And if the true value of your social networks is very high, the chances for you to remain poor are very slim. Some kids inherited these social networks from their parents, especially if their parents were entrepreneurs or some form of political capital. So what is my point here? The point that I want to illustrate is that entrepreneurship is not an individual thing. Entrepreneurship is community-based. When people succeed, they succeed as a community, as an ecosystem. This is why we have something like community wealth. It means me as an individual, if I plug myself into a community of wealthy people, chances are very, very high that I will make it to the top. The vice versa is also true. If I plug into poor communities, even if I have some resources of some sort, those resources, through the process of diffusion, I will end up losing those resources. Now, me as a business coach, I've observed that for anybody, any entrepreneur who want to be a successful entrepreneur, he or she needs these 5 things. 1, you need to understand business processes. Secondly, you need to know how to network. Thirdly, you need to know how to consult. The ability to consult is critical. Fourthly, you need to know how to pick the right people to work with, in what we call team building. Are you able to pick the right people with the right values, who share the same interests, who have the same level of emotional commitment? This is very critical. And the last point that I want to make on that is the ability to sell. Every entrepreneur must be able to sell. And by selling, we mean you must be able to persuade. Because you need to persuade customers to buy from you. You need to persuade other stakeholders to give you a leeway. Remember, we said we are traveling in this road full of scarce resources, and everyone is competing for scarce resources. The reason why there are so many wars in this world planet is because people are busy fighting for scarce resources. And we are saying you don't have the opportunity to fight. The only option that is available is to persuade. You have to be very good at persuasiveness. So these are the 5 things. And these things, universities and colleges don't teach these things. Right. And now we are in trouble. We want our kids to become entrepreneurs, but they don't have these skills. And we as parents, we don't even know where they can get these skills. But I think for you, because you are listening to this audio, let me share something that I rarely share with many people. There is a concept called a franchise. A franchise. A franchise is a community of businesses. It's like somebody come up with an idea and he develops a business system around that idea. And then he said, I want to sell these business systems to other people. McDonald's is a franchise. KFC is a franchise. And there are so many franchises in almost every area. I want you to see a franchise as a as an ecosystem which one can just come and plug himself into that ecosystem and succeed. Because we said an ecosystem has got everything necessary for you to survive, regardless of your efforts. But other things are there for you to survive. We talked of the need for understanding business processes. A franchise provides that. Because you are buying a business with systems, and the franchise owners, they will help you, they will set the systems for you. Then we talked about the ability to network. So this is what a franchise will do. Because we are saying the networks, from those networks, we are going to have customers, we are going to have funders, people who are going to provide capital, we are going to have all sorts of stakeholders. Because a franchise, it's an established brand. It's a business. These are the people who have been in business for too long. They are now networked with the suppliers, with the bankers, trainers, all sorts of people you can imagine. And if you plug into their franchise, you automatically plug into their networks. I hope this is very clear. Then we talked about the ability to consult, because, you know, in Africa, I know many business, middle class business people, they don't really appreciate the value of consulting. It's the reason is very simple. It's not like they are dull or they are foolish, but they lack the exposure and the appreciation of the role of consultants in businesses. Because if you have a medical condition, you go and see a medical doctor, right? He's a specialist. The same should apply to businesses. If your business is suffering, is experiencing some challenges of some sort, you need to go and see a business consultant or a business coach. Right. A franchise, because these people are experts, they play the role of consultants, management consultants. They play the role of sounding boards. They play the role of trainers, because they will train you on how to do your, and they will be monitoring and evaluating your performance. The same applies to team building. You are dealing with experts who can help you, as well as who can help you to sell. Because when you buy a franchise, you are buying a brand. It means the customers already exist. You don't have to spend more money on marketing your own brand. But when a franchisor is marketing his brand and is already has loyal customers, it means you are simply buying into an ecosystem that is well established. Now, my advice is very simple. You can afford to send your kids to a university where they can go and study accounting. But just consider this. I just want you to think about this. If you calculate the money that you are going to send somebody, your kid, to spend 4 years studying, if you take that money, or even if you go and borrow that money from a bank and buy a franchise, in other words, you are buying a business, all right? You buy a business, then instead for your child to go to university, he is being plugged now into a franchise or into an ecosystem of business. In other words, we are saying a franchise is a way, is a gateway for any kid to enter into the business world, right? You buy a franchise for him, then you and your kids, maybe you have got 3 kids, you just say, I want to buy this franchise for my kids. And the goal is for them to learn how to run a business. So if you take a franchise as a business school where your kids will be learning and working at the same time, right? If you go to America, people say in America there are more entrepreneurs. Why is it so? I did my research and discovered that in America there are more entrepreneurs. Why? Because there are many employment opportunities. Many employment opportunities. A job is the best place to learn about business. And for somebody who has a degree but without work experience, and someone without a degree but with work experience, the last one, is more likely to start a business and succeed. Why is it so? It is because he understands the systems, the business processes, how a business is managed, and he understands the loopholes and almost every aspect of the business. Right. So this is very crucial. Now, if you buy a franchise for your kids, because it's very possible for you to buy a small franchise. These franchises have got different packages that can suit your wallet. Right? Then you buy, your kid is entering into this business as a worker, a shop floor worker, and rise through the ranks as he learn the etiquettes of the business. After some time, even if you send him to a university, that kid will be smarter than the other way around. Let me tell you why. I went to university. There is something which is called a research project, and we were asked to submit some research topics. And indeed, many of us, we had no clue on what to research on, because we have no idea about the world out there, the business world. And if I look back today, I always say to myself, if I had an opportunity again to go back to school, I want to research this area. Because what the topic that I chose did not make any meaningful contribution to me or to anybody. How would I pick a good topic when I don't know the problems out there that needs to be researched? So my point here is, it's not always like a kid should go from secondary to university straightforward. No. A university is something which one can go later on. And now when someone is learning this concept theoretically in universities, they will have a strong understanding of the purposes of these theories, because he or she will be relating what she is learning and what she is seeing from the workplace. Right. But what is crucial is that going to university is a good thing, but it's not a necessity. It's not a necessity. Right. A franchise is a school in itself. These people have got They do the training, they help you, they are available for any assistance, and they make sure that you succeed because their name, their brand name is at stake. Right. If the success rate of franchises, of a particular franchise is high, more and more people will buy that franchise. If the success rate is very low, more and more people will leave that franchise. So they work hard to ensure that you have succeeded. But most importantly, instead of buying a car for your kid to go driving to the university, you better, I think it's a good idea to convert that car into a franchise and let him work. If he work hard, you the caring aspect will automatically comes in, because the kid will emotionally get attached to his work over time. You see? So this is what I think we can do. If we just educate our kids without a strategy, they will end up becoming unemployed. So on part 3, I want to focus on what government can do to help young people to succeed. Thank you.